This is LexTalk, OGN Special Edition, Episode 3. So this is my guest, Shin.
Hi.
Hey everybody. Yeah, and we're both big fans of the OGN tournament era of the Korean League of Legends League. So we thought it'd be fun to do an all-time all-pro list for the OGN era that was 2012 to 2014. And thought it'd be fun to compare and contrast our all-time lists. So we're going to go through a little rundown. So, who did you have as your 3 all-pro top laners? Let's just do top to bottom. Do it that way.
Top to bottom?
Yeah.
So
we'll just do it that way.
I put mine first as a flame.
Yeah.
Followed by shy.
Yeah.
And impact.
All right. I can get behind that. I wrote a list down here. Where did I put this? Yeah. All right. That's pretty much like you have the same top 2 as me. I also had flame first, and I had shy seconds, but I actually had Machnoon as third.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Machnoon as a third too. It was kind of very debatable for me. But I just felt like Machnoon also, and he ended up going to mid and at his end of his career. So I just put impact because he was at top more consistent and he stayed longer at the top tier. To me, I think Machnoon had more impact in like a single season, but overall, like 12 to 14, I thought impact to be the better choice for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we did do it that way as being the entirety of the era. So if you only played in one split, well, tough luck. You're probably not going to be considered an all-timer. Yeah, and in the case of Machnoon, he was definitely really incredible during the height of his powers, but he is, one of those guys who had a really short career.
Yeah, and he kind of dropped very fast too. Yeah.
I don't remember, did he have wrist injuries as well?
He had injury, and he ended up saying, like, in the interview, like, he had a lot of pressure to stay at top, and he really struggled.
Yeah.
For Flame and Shy, I mean, for me, it could have gone either way. They're both core of each team, Blaze and Frost. I just put Flame because 2013 was pretty much like a Flame. It wasn't top carry meta, but Flame kind of carried the top and led the team into final, and he just destroyed the lane, like, to me.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why they invented the Flame Horizon term, right? He's just so consistently dominant in lane because he had a crazy understanding of minion wave management that other players just didn't understand at all.
And for me, like, the reason I put Flame, another reason was, like, if you go against Blaze, majority of the 3 bans were focused on Flame, like Vladimir,
Cannon,
or Olive, Cannon. Whereas if you go against Frost, Ben was not against like a Shy, but sometimes focused on Mad Life or
Rapid Star.
Rapid Star, like that. So that also make me think like Flame was like he's like core of the team and carried the team. So I put him as a first.
Yeah. No, I mean that's pretty similar to my reasoning. I don't know how close was Save to making your list.
What's that?
I had some serious debate over Save and like Acorn and Looper.
Yeah,
I tried to keep it to, I don't know, from my perspective, the way that I made my list is I only looked at things that actually happened in the Korean League. So winning Worlds doesn't count for me.
Okay.
Because it wasn't success in that league, right? Like you wouldn't say somebody's the best Premier League player ever if he didn't really do anything in the Premier League, but he did a lot in the Champions League. Right? It's like, well, that doesn't really count because it's not actually the event we're grading him on. right? So that's kind of how I felt. So I did ignore Worlds. So I didn't really put Looper in there because he literally he was there for 1 year, and this was actually not a super successful year up until Worlds 4 Samsung White.
Yeah, true. I totally agree with that.
And then for me with Save, it was kind of similar reasoning. I think he was really average for quite a while, and then became pretty good in a meta that was just play Dr. Window and Shyvana.
Yeah. 14. He was kind of like, to me, I think he was overrated on 14.
I think he was just one of those people who, he was like that. He got too much credit for what he actually did during that period. Yeah. So if you had to ask the two best players in the team, were I would have said Goong and Gorilla were the best players on Shield.
Yeah.
Right, not Save. He was pretty good, but I never actually thought he was that insane. I think he was a little bit overhyped. I even thought that Flame was probably still better than him in 2014.
I think
so. Everybody had like a big toss-up. Like for me, Flame was the better player. He just had a significantly worse team at that point.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, so I think our reasoning was kind of the same for our top two, where Flame definitely had the highest of highs, right? Like his 2013 spring season, even when he lost, like he did lose in that final, pretty convincing fashion, but he was so dominant, and he was really, really consistently good for a long period of time because he spent his whole career being really good from season 3 onward, right? Because he did play season 2, but he didn't really do a whole lot in that. He was replacing Reaper at that time. And then for Shy, he was just literally there for 3.5 years. Like he was at the very first tournament. Yeah. Actually, no, he wasn't. He missed the first one. He missed the one where Blaze won. Because Shy is a Royal Roader. Shy's first tournament is actually the what is it? The
summer
season.
Summer
the
season.
Summer season they won, with Frost. Because he's one of like 5 Royal Roaders actually.
Yeah.
I think Mata's the second one. I think Shy's the first Royal Roader, and then Mata's the second Royal Roader.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, he also had the most final appearances of anybody, Shy. Like he had 3 finals. Impact and Acorn both had 2 finals. And then nobody else that was even really in the running had more than 1 final, but Shy had 3 finals appearances, even though he only won 1.
Totally, yeah.
So, or no, I think he had 2. He had 2 finals appearances because he didn't go to that first one. Yeah, so he had 2. So it's him, Impact, and Acorn all had 2, but then Shy was the star of his team, and Acorn and Impact were very much like role players in their team, even though Impact was really good.
Yeah, Impact. That's why I put him on 3rd. So
yeah, Impact was my 4th. Like if we did a 4th team, then I would have had Impact right there.
Okay, for me, I would have put Acorn as a 4th.
Yeah. Still ahead of Machnoon.
Instead of Machnoon, I think just because he was more consistent. I think to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me with Machnoon, I just appreciate it because he was the first MVP of Champions.
Yeah.
Well, the first official MVP, right? Back because that was the first season that they actually had the points was 2012-13 winter, right? So Machnoon was the original MVP, and man, if you watch his replays, he was so unbelievably dominant. I mean, like, there's obviously that crazy Rengar montage or that Rengar clip where I don't remember who he's against. I think it's like Lilac or something, and he kills him like 4 times in lane, just over and over again, and he's like proxy farming between the tier 1 and tier 2 turrets as well, and just murdering him. It's just terrible. But Machnoon was so dominant during the height of his powers, even though he really did fall off. He didn't have very much career longevity.
He definitely had a huge impact.
Yeah. Because in the early days, I would have probably said that Machnoon was a little bit better than Shy, but then Shy just stayed good and Machnoon didn't.
That was Shy stayed, I think, like till 17, I think. Year 2017.
I think it was 2016.
Okay.
Because he played 2016. No, 2017 Rocks Tigers. 2017, yeah. It's 2016. He couldn't have been on the roster because Smeb was there. So it was the 2017 lineup for Rocks where they just took the Afrika Freaks, basically. And Shy was actually really good then. Even he was really underrated. Not super good, but he was really underrated at that point in time. Because he's probably the 4th or 5th best top laner. But just speaking strictly for the OGN era, Shy was good from day one all the way until the end. So definitely clear choice. One of the best players. Yeah. So yours was Flame, Shy, and Impact, right?
Yeah.
Pretty similar list. Yeah, I would have had Impact 4th, but I don't think there's too much more to talk about on the top laners.
It just, like there's so many good top laners in Korea, so it was very hard. It was one of the hardest position for me to pick.
Well, I think it was always the deepest position in Korea. Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
you can pick top tier, but it's really hard to do like top 3 and top 4 for top position. Even now, like there's so many top laners in Korea.
Yeah, you always have this weird like jumble too, where in a lot of regions you'll have like 2 really clear star players, and the rest of them are crap. But for Korea, it was always kind of okay. Here's your 1 or 2 really elite guys, and then I've got 8 guys that are pretty much interchangeable, and they're all good. It's crazy the level of depth. I mean, there was a point. Let's see the 2014 top lane. 2004. Let's look at 2000. I don't know, like 14 spring or something, right? 2014 spring. So you have Save, Flame, Someday, Acorn, Looper, Impact, Shy, Duke, Marin. Yeah, they actually had Expect back then too, but he wasn't very good. He only played like 6 games, but that's a lot of good players, right? Save, Flame, Someday, Acorn, Looper, Impact, Shy, and Duke, and Marin.
Yeah.
it's a murderer's row. And then in summer, yeah, you had Trace again. The KT Bullets guy on Limit, actually, he was decent. He was okay. Yeah, just the level of depth was pretty crazy, especially in that era. Yeah, what's your jungle list look like?
My first top number 1, I think you have the same name. I have a Dandy as a first. And second, I have a Bengi.
Ooh.
And third, I have Kakao.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm definitely gonna disagree on the Bangi pick, but yeah, Dandy's so clearly the pick for the first team because he was the guy the whole time, right? He was just really fucking good. Well, I mean, there was points in time where he was arguably the best player in the league, even, or like the second best player, I guess, because once Faker got there, it did become pretty hard to be the best player. But Dandy was just always unbelievable, and the arguments for the other guys get a little weird too, because you have 2013, it was Dandy versus Insec, and 2014, it was Dandy versus Cacao. But then you have to think about the fact that Insec was top laner for half of that time period, 2013, and then he just kind of left in the middle of 2014. Right? So
that was my thought.
Makes it tough.
Another reason was like, well, Bengi went against Kako in the summer final, and then SKT ended up winning. Not just because Bengi was. I'm not saying Bengi carried the team. I'm just saying Bengi was fit. He fit for SKT T1K at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I wouldn't put Bengi as a second if he was in a different team, but I end up putting him because he was in SKT. Like he had a good career throughout the years.
Yeah.
Compared to I don't think like anyone but Dandy or maybe Spirit went to like more final than Bengi. Or
during the OGN era, Dandy, Bengi, Cacao, and Watch and Spirit all made 2 finals.
Yeah, two finals.
They all had 2 finals. Yeah.
So I think it could go anyway. It's just for me, like T1, they won both championship whenever they went to finals. So
yeah.
That's why I put in Kakao. I mean, obviously, like I was gonna put Insect, but like you said, Insect was half top laner on 13, and Kakao was the jungler, so that's why I put him. He carried the team, ended up winning on 14 summer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my list was Dandy, Cacao, and Insect. So I had both the KT junglers on there. And then my fourth pick was Bengi. The thing for me with Bengi is that I actually appreciated them quite a bit in OGN. It was after that period where I got really sour about Bengi. Right. I don't think that he was really the same guy during the LCK championships. Like, I never really gave him the same level of credit, but in the early days, he was good, man. And he was such a fantastic pick for the team, or fit for the team. Like, he's exactly the kind of jungler they needed, and his mechanics were quite a bit better back then as well. Like, in 2013, his mechanics were okay. Although I still do recall the interview with Impact, where Impact made fun of Bengi's mechanics, and then just to prove it, 1v1'd him on Lee Sin and completely destroyed him. And then in the interview bragged about it. That was pretty funny, yeah. It's like, even my Lee Sin's better than yours, watch. Yeah, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Bengi, but I had him on my fourth team. I guess kind of the same reason that I had Impact in my fourth team, because I wanted to look at the people who were the star of their team.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, like, Dandy, like, if you look at Samsung White, for me, that team was the Dandy and Mata show. I think Imp was very much the third star of the team. But Dandy and Mata, like, they were sick. Like, that was their team, right? And then with KT Arrows, Cacao. Like, he's the MVP of the league. He was the first jungler to ever win an MVP award and the only one to win it during the tournament format. Right, so for me, Cacao really sticks out. It was also cool because he made finals on two different teams, the same thing that Dade did. Because he did it with the Bullets, and then he did it with the Arrows, who... It was even the same vein as Dade, where you sent in Cacao to go fix your team of rookies. They sent in Dade to fix Blue, right? To go fix Samsung Blue, who wasn't a contender. And it was the same thing with Cacao. Like, KT Arrows was not a contender. KT Bullets was historically a contender. They sent Cacao over there, and suddenly the team gets better. And they ended up winning a championship over arguably one of the best teams of all time. Right, during the toughest era to win a championship in Korean League history of 2014, they were able to beat Blue right off the back of Cacao being a superstar. So I have him second. I think that he was just so unbelievable in 2014. And then I have Insect third because pretty much the same thing. I mean, Insect was almost an MVP, right? He was one game away from beating SKT and ending it, right?
I mean, everyone, like, when I play League in NA server, everyone knew, like, Lee Chin equal, like, Insect. So that was, like, image.
Yeah, it was the Insect kick.
Yeah. So that just pretty much sums up, I think, tops.
Yeah, he was such a superstar, yeah. So for me, like, I had Insect kind of for that reason, even though I did have a lot of issues with Insect's claim, which is obviously why he's not first. But I definitely thought, like, when you looked at 2013 and you had SKT versus KT, it was Insect versus Fake. Like, that was the rivalry. It was the Insect versus Faker rivalry. It wasn't Insect versus Bengi. Right? I mean, even though Insect was ended up being the top laner in the season that they made the finals, he was such a good jungler in the seasons prior to that, and they just kind of changed the jungle meta too. Like, when you watched the games that he played, actually, Insect did not play like a top laner. He was literally the only reason he went to the top is just to get more minion farm so that he could carry harder. But all he did was play Zac like every game.
Yeah.
All he did was he just played like a jungler. He just farmed up, and then he just started engaging team fights constantly. Right. So for me, I think that Insect is ahead of Bengi, but yeah, I would give Bengi the nod as being probably the fourth best jungler.
Okay. That's good. Are we moving into mid?
Yeah. I can't imagine who you have first.
You might be surprised. This was very, very difficult for me. Like
I know.
first and second.
Actually, it was. Yeah.
My
the name
first
value changed it.
I'm just looking at 12 to 14, so I might get a lot of criticism if you put this, but my first is Dade.
Hey man, I had a tough argument with that too. Yeah.
And second is obvious, like you know who, like Faker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even distinguish between those two. Like I honestly put those two together. Like first.
I don't think that argument is crazy at all. Yeah, but everybody makes it sound like I had for the longest time I actually also had Dade as my number one pick, and I finally kind of just bent and said, it's got to be Faker. It's hard not to be, because I remember when Faker won OGN and then he won Worlds and then he came back and he had the perfect season and he was the back-to-back MVP, and already people were calling him the best player ever.
Yeah, so it was like, and honestly, if this top pick was like 2012 to 14, like with the World combined, then I would have put Faker, I think. But this is like just the OGN era.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons I put Dade, because he went to the least he went to was semifinal since 13 spring.
Yeah.
Either semifinal or final. So
so he won 2 titles, made 4 finals appearances, which is the most.
Yeah.
And he made 5 semifinals. He's a 2-time MVP, the exact same as Faker.
Yeah.
And 3 times he led all mid laners in MVP points.
And then he won both MVP on the final. He won.
So
that's just one of the reasons.
He almost won a 3rd MVP. Like he was 1 game away, and he would have been the MVP because Cacao basically just stole it by having the last MVP in the finals. Right?
So that just made me think like he deserved like first place. And even what made me change was like in 14 summer, T1K and the Blue, they were in the same group, and Blue just annihilate and destroy K. Like Dade he didn't lose lane phase against Faker at all.
No, he never even did. I don't know where the narrative came from that Faker was just smashing Dade, because whenever you watch those guys play against each other, it was always really competitive.
Yeah, other than the winter final, I think Faker and Dade was pretty even or whatever.
Yeah,
anyway,
that winter lineup, like I want to do a series talking about the greatest teams of all time, but for my money, that is still the greatest team in history, is that SKT lineup with Impact, Bengi, Faker, Piglet, and Undo, when they went 15-0 and just dominated. For me, that's the best lineup ever.
Yeah.
So you can't put anything on that.
Also, what makes Dade great is he get all the bans. Every time you play against Dade's team, all 3 bans are against Dade.
Yeah, and it was always weird pocket pick bans too. Like, we're taking away this Yasuo, even though Pawn and Dade are literally the only 2 Yasuo players.
I mean, his champ, like a range is also just different from any other mid laners. Like,
he played a bunch of assassins, and then like
he played
TF and like, Ziggs.
Yasuo, TF, Ryze, goes on, whatever.
Yeah, it's weird because he didn't have a giant champion pool. He just kind of had like a different like champion selection. I guess it's weird. Like the champions that he picked are kind of unique.
Like Faker definitely has the most wide champ pool, but
oh my god, yeah.
But I think Dade knows the champion better. Like at the time, like the champions that he played, he was better than any other one.
Oh no, he just had such a high level of mastery with his picks. Yeah.
So anyway, those were my first and second, and my third was Ambition.
Yeah, we had the exact same list. Yeah.
Oh really? A lot of people don't know he was a mid laner, but he was definitely.
He's criminally underrated as well. Like, he would have been the original. I don't know. Maybe Reaper would have if they had an MVP. It would have been either Reaper or Ambition. But He was fantastic. He was the mid laner right up until Faker showed up and then just stole his soul.
Yeah. I mean, he was also an all-star in 13, not Faker.
Yeah, exactly.
He was that good. He was that good, like among people.
I think that all-star team came out before Faker debuted.
Oh, really? Before
Spring?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
like I think the selection happened before Faker even debuted.
Okay,
but it would have been ambition anyway because you're gonna send the rookie to all-stars? I mean, think about the fact that Mad Life and Shy kept getting all-star nominations even after they weren't good anymore.
So I think mid is pretty. We don't even have to debate. Like I think this is pretty. We know why they were first, second, and third.
I'm even on the same side as you with this one, where I'm very close on Faker and Dade, and for that time period, I think I might probably, with just OGN era, I would, I guess, lean towards Dade over Faker. I had him as the number one for a while on my list, and then wasn't sure, but
this was like my closest. Like I was even like deciding like last minute, like before this call.
Yeah,
Faker or Dade. And then like let's just put Dade.
Yeah, well, even just including international results, I remember that at the end of 2014, I was still one of the people who was arguing that Dade had a better career than Faker at that point. Because you remember Dade also started before Faker too. So
yeah, that's
listen, he wasn't like a superstar on CJ, but he was decent.
Yeah, that was another one of the like small region because like he started in 12 and he was more consistent. I mean, obviously Faker like didn't debut on 12, but
yeah,
he just stayed longer in the league, and then
I think for me too, like he had more finals. He had 4 finals versus Faker's 2, but it was also just that he did it with an entirely new lineup.
That was big thing. Like he led Blue, which was like who never made it to like quarterfinal, and then they just won the final, right? With Dade, just addition of Dade.
Yeah, who had never been a good team, and then they instantly became. Yeah.
For Faker, I think that K was already like a complete team to me. Like, yeah,
it's pretty telling that we've already had every. Like, okay, I don't know about you, but I have every member of SKT coming up because I had Impact and Bengi as my 4th picks, right? And you had them on your list, and of course, Piglet and Mondu are going to be on your top 3. I'm sure they're in mine. And then Faker, we argued, is he the best player during that period? So it's like that team was stacked.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I don't have any blue other than Dade here, so
and if we were going to do best coach, we'd have Coma probably. Like,
that's just the why. Yeah. Okay. So you already revealed like a part of the top 3 on ADC and.
I think they have to be on it, right? Probably
totally.
On it. There's not going to be 3 guys better than Piglet.
So
there might be 3 supports better than Mondu, but there's not going to be 3 AD carries better than Piglet, right? Just curious, how close was Ryu or Ambition to making your list?
Pretty close, but
sorry, Ryu and Pawn, not Ryu and Ambition. Ryu and Pawn too.
Ryu and Pawn.
Yeah,
I put Pawn as a 4th. If that was a top 5, but it just Ryu was really strong against Blaze, CJ Blaze.
Yeah.
But he just had an image where like he kind of choked on the big stage.
Oh no, like Faker ruined his career.
Yeah.
Because the image around him got so messed up of
he has the perception, and even in Korea, like we have this phase like you die today again, like every day, like
Rio just has to relive that every day. Yeah, being on the opposite end of a highlight sucks. Yeah, no, I think that actually did ruin Ryu's career and his image. For me, Ryu was probably he was my 4th pick. He started out on Startail at the same time as Ambition, and they were probably the 2 best mids for a while. I mean, Rapid Star was pretty good during that time period, but I would have said that Ambition and Ryu were the 2 best mid laners. in 2012. And in 2013, I would say that Ryu was the third best mid laner, second maybe. It was Dade, Faker, and Ryu. I would say, and then maybe Ambition would be fourth. And then in 2014, I think Ryu did fall off quite a bit. And then they also had him like jungling and stuff, and that was just a mess. So really, his whole resume would just be the 2012 and 2013. But he was really good. I don't really have Pawn that high up because Pawn's whole thing was that he won Worlds, but actually he only made it to third place with Samsung White both times.
Yeah.
So, and again, he was not the star of the team.
Totally agree.
For that one period, right? He has that one. He played in 2013, but he was one suck. I think it was one suck.
Yeah.
And he was up big, but I don't think that he qualified for anything. Like Big Blitz, I think it was called.
Okay. Coming into ADC now. Let's go.
Yeah. What's your top three? Let's see this.
Piglet. First.
Right.
Imp as a second.
Yeah.
Prey as a third.
Okay, yeah, we have the same top three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, just like Dada and Faker, I think Piglet and Imp could go either way, I think.
I think this one was probably the easiest top two, yeah. Yeah, same with Dada and Faker. Like, those guys, their resumes just kind of stick out so far above everybody else.
And just the Piglet and Imp rivalry was just so famous in Korea. Like, it made people, like, getting into, like, watch the game. It made the game so fun, like, like how to trash talk each other and shit.
And they were so aggressive and fun to watch.
Yeah. They just carry. They're a carry machine, Like,
yeah, no, like they actually carried. They were superstars. Piglet even could have won that World's MVP. Like he could have. There was some debate about whether or not it was Faker or Piglet because Piglet's stats were just unbelievable at that World Championship. Yeah.
So
I have a bit. Yeah.
Your first is Imp.
Yeah, I had Imp over Piglet, but I had them. Yeah, again in the same thing where I was basically like, what is this? 1A and 1B. These guys are the same. I think if you did the whole team swap thing, I think they would have had identical careers too.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me too, is if they switched teams, I think they would have looked basically identical. Right? Piglet would have basically just had all the accolades that Imp did, and then Imp would have had all the accolades that Piglet did, and then the argument would have been the same of, oh, well, Piglet has Mata, right? Versus Imp having Mata. I think those guys, pretty much just could have been switched with each other, and it would have been the exact same history.
And Prey, I put just like pretty much the same reason. Like he's one of very few ADC who's able to make a shot call, where compared to like where most of the shot callers are mid and jungle. Like Prey was like pretty smart enough to make a shot call, and he's just very smart player. Like
he's also the engage AD carry. Like he's the only person like that. A lot of people copy him now. I would look at a player like Loken on JDG right now. Like he's more similar. But Prey is the only legendary AD carry who plays his style. I think that's pretty special. I would have him higher on a list about LCK than I would on this list because his 2014 was not great.
Definitely not. That's why he was thinking about retiring. I mean, he was thinking about retiring too. So, but yeah, obviously, like he was definitely better in LCK era. But I'm still saying he was still good in OGN area. Like
I think so too.
Yeah, he won the championship in winter, and he was still good in 13. Like I think he was the best player on the team.
I mean, I don't think that those Najin teams were that sick either. Like when you actually like dig deep on their lineups, I think that a lot of it was, especially because they kept rotating their rosters, right? They would have like a couple of promising like up and coming young players, and then they would get eliminated from champions, and then they would blow up the roster, And then they would have a bunch of new upcomers, and those guys would be gone. Like, how do we build synergy if you cut the team at the end of every tournament?
Yeah.
Right? Like, they never got to get good. And even being benched for OQ in 2014 wasn't really that much of an indictment on Prey. OQ was, I don't know, probably rookie of the year.
He's kind of like a. He was. I mean, he's similar to Deft. Like, he has a high physical, young player.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who would have been like in 2014. I had OQ rated as the 3rd or 4th best AD carry. I had some debate between. I think Arrow was pretty good, and Piglet was still good in 2014, even though the rest of the team fell off. Like Faker and Piglet were still really good.
I think 14, my top 3. Just looking at 14, I'll say Imp, Piglet, and Deft as my top 3.
Yeah, I had Deft and Imp together. I had Imp. I guess I have Imp over Deft because for me, I didn't think that Deft was really there yet in 2014. He was really acclaimed as being such a good team fighter, but his laning phase was a liability.
And his mental was pretty liability.
And his mental was pretty weak. Yeah,
he was. Yeah, he's not like DRX Deft right now, where he was like, DRX Deft has huge mentality right now, I think.
Oh yeah, he's just trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, Deft got way better when he met Mako and became significantly better in lane, right? Even though he had a little bit of an issue in 2015, but Deft kind of became a different guy. So Deft is kind of in the position that Prey is for me, where his career after OGN is a lot better, but his career in OGN isn't that crazy.
He become mature, and then
he was super young. I think he was 17 or something in that year as well.
Right now he leads the team. Like, he's the oldest guy in the team, and he's a captain. And that's pretty much.
Would that have been your honorable mention? Would Deft have been your number 4?
Number 4?
Yeah, if you had 4th. I mean, I keep mentioning my number 4.
If I have 4, I think I'll put Score as a 4.
I had some debate about that too. Like, when I was trying to pick the 3rd guy, because I had Piglet and Imp as the clear standouts. I don't think anybody has a resume like them. But I had Deft, Prey, and Score all kind of in the debate. And then I eliminated Score because he didn't win. He didn't win the championship. And on top of that, I don't even think I would have called Score the 2nd best player on the team for most of it. Like, when they made the finals against SKT, you had Insec was the star, and then Kakao was probably the 2nd or 3rd best player. Ryu was also really good, and then probably Score was the 4th best guy on the team.
Okay.
Although he did have that crazy KDA in the previous season, like in winter. All right. So he was really good, but for me, he just wasn't the star of the team, so I pushed him down a little bit. I had Deft as my 4th guy.
Okay, and support.
Oh. All right.
My number 1 support. Obviously, I think you have to have the same guy.
Yeah.
Mata. That's my 1st.
Oh yeah.
And Red Life as 2nd. Yep. And Pumandu.
Okay, we had the exact same support as well. Yeah. So I mean, in the same order this time too.
Talk about Mata. Like, what can you say? Like, he's just amazing. Like, he just knows the team. Like, he just knows the game and map, and he's like Royal Loader.
And then, 2nd Royal Roader.
He even, like, among the Koreans, there was a rumor, like, on season 5, like how the site word was limited to 3 since 14. Like, Koreans
broke the game.
Yeah, Koreans said Koreans said that was because of the Mata dominate the map. That's why they limited to 3.
That's the truth. It is the truth. That's why they did that. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing when you look at a college basketball banned dunking because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, his name was Lou Alcindor at the time, but because he was like this dominant high school player. He was going into college, and like, oh my god, what if Lou Alcindor scores 100 points a game? We're gonna ban dunking. So they banned it because they were afraid that he would dominate, and he did anyway. He only lost like 2 games in his career, right? But like when you're so dominant that the rules of the game change because of you, that says a lot about how unbelievable your game is.
Exactly.
Right? Mata just stuck out so much.
I mean, you include the world, like a world championship, then obviously, but like Mata is like no question because like first, I mean, okay, 9 seasons of world championship, only one support was named MVP, and that's Mata.
Yeah.
So that pretty much sums up like how great he was.
I mean, he would have been the 2013 Rookie of the Year if it wasn't for some guy named Faker. Yeah, I mean, he was such a standout, and for me too. Like the reason with Mata is that he kind of came onto the scene and then was immediately the best support in the whole world.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
it was the same thing with Faker. Like day one, he just comes in and destroys Ambition. You're like, well, there goes. Like this is your king, right? He came in and just killed Ambition. Like, oh shit, all right, he's good.
I mean, even when the Ozone made it to final, like a percentage of them winning the championship was like 11%. I can't remember like an entire.
Yeah. It was so favored towards Blaze. Everybody thought the Blaze was going to smash Ozone 3-0.
It just just like Mata just dominate the map, and Dottie just destroyed Ambition like 3Z. I think he did.
Yeah, he was just slaughtering Ambition the whole time. Mata was just roaming around. Nobody could do anything. Blaze couldn't even engage because there were just wards everywhere. They couldn't team fight. They couldn't do their slow push. Like literally nothing in Blaze's team strategy worked.
And whenever Mata and Faker went up each other, like SKT, I think only time SKT dominate Mata was Winter Final. Other than that, Mata just dominate the map, like the site, all over the map. He just knows.
They beat them again. Like they didn't dominate them, but they beat them in that 2013 summer semifinal.
Yeah, summer.
They flipped it. It was 3-1 for Ozone in spring, and then it was 3-1 for SKT in summer. Yeah, but that wasn't dominant either. Those are 2 of my favorite series ever, actually.
Like, it wasn't dominant.
Top 10 like, favorite series.
Do you like dominate? Was pretty much like okay.
The final,
14 Master that was dominated by White.
Yeah.
And 14 Spring and 14 Summer, I think it was all pretty much one-side game. I think to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have Mata there too. Like he only played 6 splits or 5. I think he just played 5. He played all 3 in 2014, and he played spring and summer in 2013. So he played 5. He played 5 OGN tournaments, and he made the top 3 every single time.
Yeah,
and he made the finals twice, and he won once. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. No, I mean, his resume is unbelievable. He just showed up on the team, and it's like, cool, so we're just going to be perennial contenders now.
And second, MetLife. What can you say? Like, there was a time support was MetLife. Blitzcrank was MetLife.
Korean Jesus.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Yeah. MetLife was just Korean Jesus. Like, they called him Godlife. He was just so amazing. He was one of the few people ever. I think really only Mata has ever kind of gotten this nod. But in 2012, MadLife as a support player was arguably the best player in the whole world. Like there was debate. Oh, is it Froggen? Is it Wei Zhao? Is it MadLife? So you have the guys in the 2 carry positions of AD carry and mid, and then a support player. He's in the argument.
MadLife was, for me, like he's the first support that support can carry the fucking game. Like
yeah, he was the first superstar. Yeah.
His Blitzcrank kind of messed up my solo rank as well because a lot of people play Blitz every time.
Yeah, they try to copy him. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of like a name after Mad Life is like what? MED, Mad Life, or like bunch of name after him. That just I mean, Mad Life was he made final also, and I mean the fact that he got owned by Mata in the quarterfinal, that was kind of, for me, it was like a generation change.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Faker and Ambition. Yeah, like that. The parody or the similarities there are pretty cool, because these two guys, Mata and Faker, came out at the same time, and then just stole the title of best player in their position from the guy who was the man for a long time. Yeah, I mean, Mad Life would, even to this day, still be one of the greatest support players of all time.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like I would probably have him in my top 5, because he changed the game too. He was the first support where you're like, oh, a support can carry the game, as you said, right?
Dude,
oh my god!
I mean, like, just that Mata like reduced the number of the ward. Mad Life like let the Blitz crank like nuff so much. Like he's like a Q.
Yeah.
Was like, it was okay until Mad Life started to play, and then Riot just like, oh, this is like OP. We're gonna reduce the Q. Oh, this is OP still. We're gonna reduce.
His highlight reel is amazing too. If you ever watch those Blitzcrank hooks, like the blind hooks are unbelievable. He'll see a guy for a quarter second go around a corner into Fog of War, and then all of a sudden, blam, got him.
and then you grab like ADC or mid, like most important in the team fight.
Every single time. He was just a sniper. He was a Blitzcrank sniper, yeah.
Like, not just he was good at grabbing, he grabbed the right character, right champion.
No, he was the god of grabbing. He was the god of grab, Mad Life. Yeah.
And not just not just Blitzcrank, like his thresh was like really like amazing. Like, I still remember, I think it was against the Najin, like where he grabbed the Jack and then he like threw the lantern to his teammate.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, he was sick. The way he could play was just, he was hyper aggressive too. Like when you look at a player like Lustboy, right, would be a counterpart, because Lustboy was basically the opposite. He was a bodyguard style support.
Yeah.
And Mad Life was a playmaker, and he's one of the only playmakers. So it just kind of stuck out what he could do and the level of impact that he could have on a game compared to other good support players is unbelievable.
Okay. Right. For me, let's talk about Pumandu.
Yeah, sure.
Just like you said, Rust Boy was like a bodyguard type.
Yeah.
I think Pumandu was like an upgrade version of Rust Boy.
He was just a better Rust Boy. Yeah.
He was just like a better Rust Boy, where he bodyguard Piglet every time, like 24/7. He's definitely not the type of player like Mata does, like a roam everywhere, ward everywhere. But Mandu was just like like me and Piglet just gonna destroy this lane, like 2-on-2. Like, he was that player to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. He was just a superstar laner. For me, I didn't think there was going to be too much debate for the top 3 supports, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I think of the mechanical supports, I mean, Mandu was never even that known for his mechanics. No. But it's really just Mata and Mad Life who had crazy mechanics, and then everybody else is just kind of normal. Mandu and Lustboy and Mafa are all kind of just the same dude.
Mafa was my force.
And then Mandu's just a better Mafa and Lustboy. And then Heart for me was also in the debate. I had a list here, so I had Kane and Heart as well on my options. But for me, like, I actually never thought the Kane was that great. I think Kane was probably closer. Like, he was like a poor man's Mad Life, because he was better. Like, he was quite good mechanic, but he was nowhere near what Mad Life was like. And for me, I just never thought that Heart was that sick.
Heart, Rust Boy, Like they're all similar to Pumandu, so I just put Pumandu because he had a better career.
Yeah, like they felt like Mandu light to me, where I just looked at Mafa, Lustboy, Heart, and Mandu is like all kind of just being the same guy, but this one's worse. Whereas, or the other ones are worse, and this one sticks out. And then Mata and Mad Life, it's kind of similar too. Like I think of Mata as literally just Mad Life, and then better at warding. Like, it's like another Mad Life, and then he's better at warding. You're like, well, okay, so he's just a better Mad Life. Yep. Yeah, kind of hard to compare with them.
Yeah, totally.
One of the thinner positions too. Like with the top lane, I think there's a lot of debate because you could have anybody. Like the top 8 is even strong. But I think with support, it was pretty clear cut. Like again, it is you have 2 people who really stuck out as being the best. And
for
then,
me, like
good.
I was thinking like ADC and support should be like bundled together when you like do the top 3. Like honestly, like if I bundle it together, then I think Imp Mata will be first, Piglet Pumandu will be second.
Yeah, I mean that would be the thought that I was having as well. I would put them together. Yeah, I would say Imp and Mata were the best bottom lane, second best bottom lane. It's not even that far from being the best either. They were right behind them were Piglet and Mandu. Yeah. And poor Mad Life just never had a partner. Think about that. You have Imp and Piglet as our 1 and 2 AD carry, and then you have Mata and Mandu as our 1 and 3 supports. And then Mad Life's just there by himself, and it's like, yeah, name one notable AD carry you played with. They were all terrible. Like that man got Space a pentakill.
Yeah.
Still remember that game when Space came out, and everybody's like, "Look, see, he finally has a good AD carry." I'm like, dude, Space is shit. He's so bad. He's so bad. Anybody can right click. Literally, this man just fed him a penta. What are you talking about? All Space did was right click. Mad Life would make all these insane plays. This is unbelievable. Yeah, it was Space Prison. It was just terrible. Yeah, that's why I think our lists are pretty similar. I'm trying to think. So we could do a LexTalk aggregated list and decide what we actually want our all pro list as. So we had the same top 2 top laners. It was Flame and then Shy second, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Impact and I had Moon.
Yeah.
All right. How close are you on that debate? Do you think it's close or
top?
Yeah.
Top is very close, I think. Top 2 are same, right? So that explains like we had the same idea of who was the best player. Jungle was definitely the most debatable between us, I think.
Yeah. Like when I look at it, I can't really reconcile putting Impact above Mocknoon on the OGN list. I don't think. I don't know. It's really close, but I just think that because Mocknoon was the MVP of the league and the star of his team, that kind of changed it for me. And the level of dominance that he had was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
It could have gone either way. I just put him because Impact had a better career.
Impact was so good too. Yeah, like he just feels like a better Gimgoon to me. Like like he's the real like Gimgoon is just the poor man's Impact. Like yeah, I always felt like Impact was somebody who was very stable playing no matter like what you put him in. If you made him your weak side or strong side top laner, he was always going to do good. He could carry with the best of them. Like what was it? Was it the All-Star game or the Masters game? I think it was All-Stars or something when it was basically just the T1 lineup. Yeah. No, I think it was Masters when I was watching him, and he just killed everybody as Gangplank, and he beat like Shy and Flame or something in Masters back to back, and he was the carry for the team for that game. And I was like, oh my god, Impact can just do everything. All right. So I have him as my fourth pick, but I could debate it with Machina.
Okay.
And then for your jungle, you just had Bangi, right? That was the only difference. Did you have Insect as third or fourth? I mean, or
yeah, Insect was my fourth. If
yeah,
we went fourth, yeah.
I can get behind that too, because the big issue with Insect is yes, he was super dominant during that period, and he was probably the best jungler in the world. But that was literally two splits. It was just during that winter season when they lost to Sword, and the spring season when they lost again. Because during the summer he was a top laner.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was in the spring they lost to Ozone, right? So that he lost to Dandy anyway. And most of his fame was coming from the big Insect pick, and then also being on that All Stars lineup, and for being on the what is it? World Side IEM? I think it was the IEM World Championship when they won that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, who's this KT Rolster B guys? Oh my god, they're destroying Europe. Yeah. So I think he made a lot of fame for that, but he actually didn't really play very much in OGN because he wasn't there for part of 2014 either. So I think I will give Bangi the nod over Insect. Put him in there in third. And I will give Dade the nod over Faker on OGN mid lane. No, I mean I had the same debate, man. It's so close. But I think for Dade, he had more finals. They had the same number of MVPs. Dade did it with two different teams. Right? And he just had that period where he just kept making finals in a row. Right? Yeah. Because he made all of his finals, made 3 of them in a row. Yeah, he just had that one third place when it was the KT Bullets SKT final. Yeah, so he just kind of dominated. Once he got on top, he kind of stayed on top the whole time. He just had that really bad Worlds performance one time, but
I just wish what would happen if he didn't go to China. That would just make more debatable too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'll put Dade over Faker, and then Ambition third. Yeah. And then our AD carry list was the same, right? But you had Piglet ahead of him.
I had Piglet, yeah.
Yeah. That's also really tight. It feels wrong to not have anybody on SKT.
Dude, those two teams were top 2 teams. So that's why we can't that's why those two are top 2, Piglet, Dade, Faker, Imp. It can't go anywhere. Because those two.
I think that MVP Ozone lineup, what even is that? Because they were such giant underdogs, and now when you look in history, if you were explaining to somebody who'd never watched, and now we have all the record books, and then you said, oh yeah, no, in that final, CJ Blaze, with all those guys you've never heard of except for Flame, they were favored 10-1 over this team. And you're like, wait, against the greatest jungler of all time? And one of the best mid laners ever? And one of the best AD carries? And the support GOAT? How? These guys literally wrote the record books. I think I have Dade, Dandy, Imp, and Mata. All of them, I think I have top 5 all time in their positions. Yeah. Imp's debatable. I think I have him maybe 6th. And Dade, I think he's kind of gone down a little bit as we've had a lot more time pass. But yeah, Dandy's still, I think, my 4th highest rated jungler of all time, and Mata's still my number 1 support. That lineup sounds insane. It's like an all-star team. Yeah. I'll accept what you said, though. I think I will give Piglet the little nod over Imp. And I'll do it just as, for me, Imp was the 3rd best player on his team, and Piglet was very clearly the 2nd best player on his team.
Yeah. I think Imp was 3rd to me. Dandy, Mata to me.
That's what I said, yeah. Okay. Imp was very clearly 3rd, and Piglet was very clearly 2nd.
Okay. I thought it was opposite. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really think that anyone believes that Impact was better than Piglet.
No.
Yeah. And then Bangi and Mandu, I don't think anybody would even suggest that they were better than Piglet. So
no.
Yeah. Whereas with Imp, even people argue between Imp or Pawn as being the third best player. Yeah. So I think I would have Imp in third or second, and then Prey as the third AD carry. And then we've got the exact same, just Mata, Mad Life, Mandu. And your fourth was Hafa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to be a legendary OGN support, you need to spell your name MA something.
Yeah.
You don't have a Ma in there, you just don't get to be a legendary support. That's the rule.
Sounds good. Awesome talk today, bro. Very good.
Finalized our all-pro list. Yeah, it's really good to have you on the show, and I'm glad that we got to do this.
No problem.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
What's up our LexTalk League of Legends OGN all-time era list. Thanks, guys.